Cage Minds, Micah Frankel ahead of the Bare-Knuckle Prospect Series, January 27th here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. To my right, to your guys' left if you're watching, we have Ismail Israilov making his Bare-Knuckle debut. You've been very prominent in MMA, had some success we saw in LFA. Why give Bare-Knuckle a try?
Почему Bare-Knuckle? Просто почему? У тебя, говорит, очень много было хороших моментов в ММА, и ты идешь после дебюта в ЛФА в хорошей форме, по направлению в ММА, а тут почему-то по кулачным боям. Почему?
Хорошая возможность, чтобы развить свои социальные сети, набраться имени, показать себя, увидеть людей. Хорошая возможность, чтобы прорекламировать себя.
It's a very good opportunity for hype to build my name, to meet new people, build my name in America, and actually I'll add it for myself. He's the first Chechen fighter to ever fight in Bare-Knuckle Fighting Championship, so it's a big opportunity for him to make the name for himself.
My apologies to everybody. Misha, Michael Lubinov, our translator here, the manager at the Jackson Wink Academy. Forgot to introduce him and thank him for being here to translate. We have this first opportunity coming up, and you said it, making history. First person from your country to step into the BKFC circle. What does that mean to you to open up this new gateway for other Chechenian fighters?
Что для тебя это значит проложить дорогу своим бойцам из Чечни, да, которые будут за тобой следить и пытаться попасть в эту организацию? Что это для тебя значит?
Ну, я буду таким человеком, которым проложит такую небольшую дорогу, надеюсь. Мне не хотелось бы, чтобы люди разбивали свои лица в эти места, но все же я впишу свою историю, как Хабиб писал свою историю в ММА, и такая маленькая история у меня тоже получится. И говорить, смотивировать молодежь я тоже не могу, потому что мне самому только 23 года, но в дальнейшем будет видно.
I'm only 23 years old, so I can't really motivate anyone from my country or for anybody to do that sport because I'm still very young myself, haven't made a name for myself, but my goal is to make that little piece of history for my country, and just hopefully people that follow, they have success, and I'm just all for it.
What are your thoughts on the challenge of taking on what's basically a new sport? I know you do MMA, so you're used to striking, but as a wrestler now primarily relying on just your hands, how different of a training camp have you felt this has been?
Так как ты борец и ты переходишь в новый спорт, какие ты именно делал акценты, на что ты именно делал акцент, как ты перестраиваешься на новый спорт в кулачных боях?
Все ошибочно полагают, что я чистый боец, но борьбой я занимался, но я использую борьбу в ММА только. Вы же не видели, где я выступал в других местах, в ударных видах спорта. В ММА я использую борьбу, потому что в борьбе шансы не бывают 50 на 50. В ММА, в стойке один удар, и не самый техничный боец может выиграть. А в борьбе тебе всегда надо работать мозгами и определенные иметь какие-то навыки. А здесь это просто рубка. Зайдем, это не бокс, это не карате. Зайдем и порубимся, и все.
Many people think because I'm a wrestler, that's all I know, but nobody's seen about 200 fights that I had prior to this in hand-to-hand combat and striking arts and everything. I've competed in every single possible combat sport possible, so I have very good striking. It just, in MMA, I utilize my wrestling because in wrestling, if you're good, there's no 50-50 chance. I dominate, I know how good I am, so I use that, because if you get clipped one time, and that's 50-50 chance, you can lose, right, by one punch. So if I don't have to take the chance, I don't take the chance, if I wrestle. But in this sport, it's all hands, and I've had so many fights and no difference. I'm just going to use what I know, and I'm pretty good in stand-up, and my hands are lethal, and I hit hard. Nothing new here.
Two more questions before I let you guys go. The LFA fight, I've talked to you when I've seen you out before about it. Dislocate the shoulder and then pop it back in place and continue to use that arm to ground and pound a foe. Can you just tell everybody what that was like a little bit from your perspective to have an injury and to overcome it and to finish that spectacularly?
Естественно, он смотрел твой бой в ЛФА, все знают, как хорошо ты выступил с выбитым плечом. Он хочет, чтобы ты ему рассказал, что именно у тебя в голове в этот момент было, как ты собрал себя и выиграл этот бой.
Если ты не готов преодолевать боль и драться дальше, тебе в этом виде спорта делать нечего. Ты должен быть готовым до захода в клетку, что тебя будут разносить в щепки. Если с этими мыслями ты туда не заходишь и не готов к боли, то тебе здесь ловить нечего. В моей голове было главное, чтобы не остановили бой. Дальше я как-то разберусь.
So very simple. Like if you going into a fight and you're not thinking, you're not aware that another opponent is going to break you down and tear you to pieces, then this sport is not for you. As you go into the cage, you are anticipating major injuries and other problems that may arise in the cage. His biggest worry was for the fight not to be stopped if something happened, because that's something he can't control, which, as you saw, fight almost could have been stopped because he just like waved light and like kind of to pop it in. So that was his biggest worry, but you know, he's ready to die in that cage. And I'll tell you for myself, because I was cornering for that fight. He hasn't fought for 2 years, and we picked him up, we trained him, we saw how talented he is. So it's like, you know, he told me before going to the cage, I will die in that cage, and nothing else matters. You know, I have to win this fight no matter what, and he did with a dislocated shoulder. He was actually screaming at me in the fight, like because he was on top and going at this guy, right? I kept screaming, yeah, hit, right? And he's screaming at me like I can't, in a lot of pain, while doing the same thing I was telling him, you know. And then he collapsed after the fight. In agony, you know, and when we went backstage, the other fighter that he beat, the guy was 5-0, right? He was an underdog, was outside his weight class. The guy was 185, he fights at 170. They had the other guy with an oxygen mask on the floor, and they took him out on a stretcher. Ismail just put him through a major grind, and that guy never lost, ever felt anything like this. And so when we saw it, like, I mean, this kid is like super good, you know, so.
And then the last thing is just what should the fans expect on January 27th?
Что фанаты должны от тебя ожидать 27 января?
Фанаты должны просто не моргать. Потому что один удар, я буду заряжен, один удар, и я думаю, все должно решиться максимально быстро. Все может быть, но если бой не закончится быстро, будет рубка, просто рубка.
Pretty much just don't blink. When I go in there, you know, anything can happen any moment of the fight. One punch, I can get him out. If it's going to be a very hard fight and the guy's ready, anticipate a fight to the death. Like I says, I'm not going out just to go out, you know. So I'm ready to fight. I'll be ready. Is motivated.
Gentlemen, thank you for the time.